Welcome to Verbal Peak Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. Like to welcome you all to the show, right? Today we are dealing with QAnon, right? But we're dealing with it in the aspects of a form of an establishment or organization that black people, i.e. Moors, i.e. Aswads, i.e. melanated people, can use as a template on how to establish an organization, then take one who shares your beliefs and your ideas and put them in a position of power, whether it be in the Senate, Congress, Vice President, or President, right, in the United States, right? Simply because you have the power to do so. We need to understand and use this system towards our own benefit. When we put people in a position of power and we vote for them, we don't vote for them because of what they say that they're going to do once they get in. We vote pertaining to their track record, their history of what they've been proven solid to do before they get in. Example, you can have a family member, right, always coming to you borrowing $25, $50, even $100, right? But when they get paid, they pay you back, and sometimes they give you a little more, right? They have a history of that, so you can kind of trust their word, right? But then you also have a family member who will borrow an amount from you and never pays you back. So you build they built their reputation with you, and you kind of understand what they're gonna do when they borrow that money. You know who's gonna pay you back and who's not gonna pay you back based on their track records. You get what I'm saying? So, and it goes the same with vetting people for higher office, right? You look at their track record, and you know if they're going to do something for you, for your vote within their community, and if they're not, because they have a track record of not doing anything for the community, right? So we want to get in more into this QAnon organization, right? And that's QAnon, right? Now, recently, it goes, a U.S. businesswoman who has expressed support for the QAnon, conspiracy theory, has won the Republican nomination for a seat in the House of Representatives. Marjorie Taylor Greene is now expected to be elected in November to represent Georgia's heavily conservative 14th congressional district and become QAnon's, that's QANON, first devotee in Congress. It comes aiming a social media crackdown on the conspiracy theory. QAnon says deep state traitors are plotting against Donald Trump. Now, whether you believe it or whether you believe it not, here's an individual that believes it, right? Then she has other people who believe like she does. They got behind her, put her in office, and they expect something in return within these beliefs that she shares, and also they'll have a mission and a mission statement that they will hold her to and that she would deliver upon, strictly dealing with the shared ideologies and them coming together as one collective body, right? Yeah, that's an example, right? That's something that we can follow to put people in positions of power that share our ideologies. First, we got to unite, then elect the one that's best amongst us, and put them in power. and we will expect something from them, just like everybody else does. You know, you say you working on white supremacy, and they're working on how to renew it, how to update it, how to sophisticate it. All right. So, but you have the power, and we have the power to basically do the same. Now, you might ask, what is QAnon, which is QAnon? Okay, let's go. The story begins in October 2017 when an anonymous user posted a series of messages on 4chan, a very loosely moderate message board which has been a breeding ground of a number of online movements, including the alt-right. We know the alt-right movement, right? Okay. The identified user, who signed off as Q, claimed to have top secret clearance within the U.S. government. And this is coming from, get this here, this BBC News, right? So I don't want y'all to think I'm just making something up, right? It says the baseless core of the QAnon story is that the Mueller investigation into alleged collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia is actually an investigation into global elites, and that the president is masterminding a secret plan to arrest top politicians and Hollywood stars for corruption and child abuse. You all remember Pizzagate and how they was blaming these top Hollywood officials for sex trafficking and whatnot. They're saying that Trump had a plan to arrest these people, and it goes all the way into Hollywood, and that the deep states and the elites in Hollywood and global elites is trying to stop him. For some reason, this plan is being revealed to niche internet message boards via Q through cryptic messages from frequently do not appear to make any sense. For example, do you believe in coincidence? Blunt and direct time, BDT. Think currency. Think fireworks. Despite the far-fetched, open-ended, and inscrutable nature of Q's message, they quickly gain a cult following. Other users begin to interpret the clues or breadcrumbs and elaborate on the theory, right? The resulting QAnon conspiracy theory, also known as the Storm, is a collection of these interpretations. The Anon part of the name comes from the fact that 4chan posters are by default anonymous. It echoes the debunked Pizzagate saga, which resulted in a man opening fire in a Washington pizza restaurant in 2016. He believed the Democratic Party-ran pedophile ring was based there, right? Despite there being no real evidence that Q has any special insight into the inner workings of the government, the conspiracy theory has been pushed by various celebrities in the U.S. The actress Roseanne Barr, former baseball player and current Breitbart podcast host Kurt Schilling, and InfoWars host Alex Jones, who has spread other conspiracy theories, including one which claimed that a massacre at a Connecticut school was staged by the government, have all promoted the theory, right? I'm trying to get to, if I keep reading, we'll find it though. It's not always clear whether the people pushing the conspiracy theory really believe that the contents of Q's cryptic messages are meaningful, or whether they are using it to provoke political opponents and the media, right? But basically, let me look here. I'm trying to find a motto. And the motto is something like, where one go, we all go. I'll find it. The timing of the conspiracy theory's origin, he says, is no accident, During the Mueller investigation, people were really looking for reasons to not think that the president is somehow in the employ of Russia or that something nefarious had happened during the campaign, right? Q acolytes pay close attention to President Trump's speeches, and although he has never directly referenced the theory, the president has promoted conspiracy theories to his supporters in the past. Most notably, the false idea that former President Obama was not born in the United States, right? But basically, what they're saying is, you got an organization, right? And you got a group that is following Donald Trump regardless, right? Now, when he talks to them, okay, he's talking to them in code, right? They understand what he's saying. They have a total agenda that they created, and they're in unison. I'm simply saying black people can do the same thing. Can create their own party, create their own ideology, and trust me, this QAnon that they created, this is the new organization for the future. And I found their motto. Their motto is, where we go one, we go all. Right? Where we go one, we go all. Do y'all understand what they're saying? Where Trump go is the one, they all going. Regardless. You know, you say, you got 250 people going to Sturgis in South Dakota and they not wearing any mask. They got these campaign rallies and they not wearing any mask. Okay, now we see Trump wearing a mask. Now we seeing some people starting to wear a mask, right? And they're telling you, where we go one, right, Trump, we all go. Now, do you know how many supporters are with QAnon, right? It doesn't state, right? It don't state. But you know, it's a lot. It's a lot of them. It was enough to put the young lady that's supposedly headed to the Senate, coming out of Georgia, you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you know, it states it right there. You know, Marjorie Taylor Greene wins Georgia Republican primary, you know, and she's a devout QAnon believer. She's not changing her viewpoint of what she believes in, but I'm just simply using this to show how we as a people have the right and the freedom to do the same thing. It don't matter. You get something that's catchy. You get a name or an acronym, you know, that means something. And you put energy and electricity behind it. You get people and some folks with money that's willing to endorse it. And then the movement grows. Then you pick one to represent your cause. And you turn them into a politician with influence. And then they when they go up to the House and they say, well, look, man, we presenting, opposing a bill, you know, that's going to help us. Look, you vote on this bill, I back you on this. Or I got some donors, we'll put this much amount of money towards your cause, but we need you to do this. And you get there, you start lobbying. Right? And because black people, it's time to show strength. You know, it's time to show that it can be done. Now, people are up in arms, a lot of people, dealing with Kamala Harris being tapped to be the vice president with a running mate with Joe Biden, right? Simply because they're saying that her track record, when she was a prosecutor, she was on black people. She even locked up a black mom for her son truancy, I think for 180 days. And supposedly she smirked about it and whatnot. and they're saying she has no track record of actually helping black people in the areas where she was a prosecutor at in Oakland, right, in California, right? So if that's the truth, then those questions needs to be asked of her. And as she's running, somebody need to get a statement to see where she stands. Then it goes down to your own beliefs. Do you trust someone that don't have a track record and dealing with the issues that you feel is valuable to yourself? Or do you believe that, well, maybe once they get in that position, they'll change and they'll do better? I mean, I don't know. It's your vote. I'm just basically laying out a construct of what we need to be looking towards, right? What we need to be building and showing you that it can be done. And the reason why it can be done, because you got QAnon right here. Here, let's doing it, right? So we got a image of what's going on, and by no means, I don't want anyone to take it as though I'm supporting QAnon, or that I'm even with QAnon. I'm just saying that it's been done before, of us putting people in high positions of power, you know, and either you don't do enough to support those that's in power who have your interest at heart, and if you don't do that, that person's model and what they created, it'll be lost in the wind. You'll forget about them. You'll never hear about them unless you have a conscious person who pulls them up in order to make you think. You know, like Brother Khalid Muhammad. Now, he talked about a B.K. Bruce, right? Blanche Kelso Bruce. And that's BLANCHE Kelso, KELSO Bruce, BRUCE. You can look him up, right? This brother signature was all on the monies that America was spending. Black man. Well, I tell you what, he was a brother who he was born into slavery. His mother was a slave. Father was a white man. Man, you know how that happens. Slave master go in there, rape a sister, child comes out, and the deadbeat dad, which was the slave master, he don't have anything to do with the child. But yet that child fought, and he became influential in the United States. Now, we're going to get into him. He was born in 1841, right? Became the first African American to serve a full term in the U.S. Senate, as well as the first African American to preside over the Senate, right? One of 11 children, Bruce was born near Farmville, Virginia, and was taken to Mississippi and Missouri by his owner. Just 20 years old when the Civil War began, right? Bruce tried to enlist in the Union Army at the time. The Army did not accept black recruits, so instead Bruce turned to teaching. Now, look at this. He was 20 years old when the Civil War began, right? So, look, check this out, right? So that was about 61, 62, but now, right? But look, so at that time, he could move around, right? At that time, he couldn't enlist in the Union Army, so he was like, okay, well, you know, I'm not gonna let that get me down. I'll just become a teacher and teach, right? He later organized the first school in Missouri for African Americans, right? The first school in Missouri for African Americans was by B.K. Bruce, right? Which in Houston, I went to an elementary school called Kelso Elementary. But we'll keep going though, right? So instead, Bruce turned to teaching. He later organized the first school in Missouri for African Americans. He briefly attended college in Ohio, but left to work as a porter on a riverboat, right? He started grinding. He grinded. In 1869, Bruce moved to Mississippi to become a cotton planter. So that means black folks was planting cotton, right? In the 1869, 1870, right? Active in Mississippi Republican politics. You say, well, why was B.K. Bruce active in Mississippi and Republican in politics? Because at that time, most black people were Republicans, right? And most racist whites was Dixiecrats, which later became Democrats. He served as supervisor of elections, tax assessor, sheriff, superintendent of education, and sergeant at arms of the state senate, right? Hustling. Showing you got to get your hustle on. Black folks got to have so many hats that we have to wear. Now, I'm going to get back to this though. Right. Okay, let me finish this, then I get to it. Okay. Sergeant Arms of the State Senate. In 1874, the Mississippi legislature elected him to the U.S. Senate, where he served until 1881. Before we get on, now this goes into the thing that they call council culture, right? I'm going to show you how this all relates. Council culture is where they're saying, look, you say something negative or derogatory about a race or a group, then you can lose your job and you can lose your benefits, money. I mean, you really can catch hell by, saying something derogatory, and they saying it's council culture, and they asking, okay, well, is it going too far, right? I.e. the Nick Cannon situation. I.e. the Karen situation with the brother that was professor that was bird watching, right? Now with the brother that was the professor with the bird watcher in New York, right, when the Karen was started acting like she was being attacked by a black man, African American, calling the police quick, right? They're saying that, okay, well, yeah, her losing her job and that could have been too far. But what people got to realize, especially white people, because white people, some things you just don't have to worry about. When a white woman that's crying on the phone, well, acting like she's crying and she's in danger, call the police, right? If he wasn't filming that, there's a good chance that they'd have came on the scene, shot and killed him. And see, she knew that. So really, she's faking a ploy for a situation that could have led to a murder. That's why she was dealt with so harshly, because the leaders, the mayors, the governors, the police chiefs, even the police officers, they know that there's an underlying problem of police brutality against black people, black male and female, throughout this country. And they know that when they come on the scene, they don't have time to sort it out. They hear the pleas of a white woman, and that's why she mentioned a big African American or a black man, they'll say to let them know that she's under attack, and they know there's a chance that those police gonna come to the scene and they gonna ask questions. They shooting, and they would do that intentionally. So it needs to be a term for that, right? It needs to be a law for that. We can call it fake personal endangerment in order to get a black person killed law and give them some time, right? Because they know the mindset of the police department. That's why they get treated so harsh and they lose their job. You know what I mean? Because you putting the police in a position to where they're going to lose their job and also can go to jail for murder. Because they know that they're not coming to be diplomatic, right? In their subconscious mind, they're trained when they hit when a white woman call and she's saying she's been accosted or she's being harmed by a black male, they're coming to kill. So that's why, to answer that council culture question on why. Now, the Nick Cannon situation is a little bit different because that issue should have been a debatable issue where both sides bring their evidence, and Nick Cannon proved what he's saying, because that was a teaching opportunity, that was a learning opportunity, because Nick Cannon really had some strong ground to stand on, so he didn't have to back down. Right. Matter of fact, he would have been more popular. He would have been right up there with Muhammad Ali when Ali refused to go into the draft and go to Vietnam. And Nick Cannon would have went down alongside of Ali and with Colin Kaepernick and those who stood for their beliefs and had actual facts and evidence to back up their stance, right? But then I'm hearing these other personalities, right, who saying you don't know the kind of pressure that Nick Cannon was under, so you can't judge him for apologizing. And that's even wow. Like, you mean what kind of pressure? I mean, trust me, I'm not a celebrity. My show will never get to the millions and millions of followers. You know, reason being is, hell, I don't care for it too. You know, so I'm not seeking fame and all that. So I don't know, but does that bring? I mean, man, do it bring that type of pressure upon a person to where they even make them fear God? I mean, is it that powerful? I don't want to know. You know what I'm saying? But from what I'm gathering, I'm hearing these celebrities. They like, man, you don't know, how it is, and you don't know the kind of pressure that put Nick Cannon on. You don't know all the people that's working under him. That if he goes and they don't have any, I mean, damn, is it that powerful? To where you got to backtrack on your religious beliefs. That's some power. Yeah, I mean, that's some scary power. You make a man backtrack on God. On evidence that was constructed before you was even born, and evidence and proof is lying around him, but you can't pick it up and look at it because somebody else is gonna get upset that you picked it up and read it and said, "Oh man, damn, okay, well this is some who played a hand in our demise. Let's talk about it." And they're like, "No, shut up and be quiet." And that's what it is. So I have no idea. So, but as I stated, there's a lot of people that's celebrity heads and figures in the community and also social community that's basically saying, hey, it's rough when you speak that truth and people crack up under the pressure. So, okay, it is what it is. Okay. In the Senate, and we're dealing with BK Bruce again. In the Senate, Bruce was a member of the Committee of Pensions, Manufacturers, and Education of Labor. He chaired the Committee on River Improvements and the Select Committee to investigate the Freedmen Savings and Trust Company. He supported desegregation of the Army, protection of African American voting rights, and more humane treatment of Native Americans. Right? Bruce encouraged increasing the disposition of Western land grants to African Americans. The disposition of Western land grants to African Americans. On February 14, 1879, Bruce became the first African American to preside over the Senate. Look, Bruce worked devotedly to gain rights for African Americans. After leaving the Senate, he was appointed Registrar of the U.S. Treasury by President James Garfield, right? At the Republican Convention of 1888, Bruce received 11 votes for Vice President. He was appointed Recorder of Deeds for the District of Columbia and later was a member of the Board of Trustees of Howard University. Bruce died in Washington, D.C. in 1898. They don't even talk about Brother B.K. Bruce and all the things that he contributed. See, that's what we're looking for, right? We're looking for people with track records over their time that actually wanted to improve, because the work of closing the gap and improving black relations in the America is an ongoing work. We don't need people who have that slave master mentality to where, look, I'm going to keep these people down. I'm going to keep my own people down so I can seem like a big shot and rise above them. And then I can go in and, since I'm not gonna foster education, I'm gonna make sure that they stay at a certain position so they can't catch on to what I'm doing, right? And then I'll make it appear like I'm actually helping them, but yet at the same time I'm doing the bidding of my slave master, right? So, I mean, wow, it is what it is, but, we got to wise up to the game. They not using no new playbooks. The same old playbook as I stated in the previous show, right? One last thing on Bruce. On B.K. Bruce is he was a wealthy Mississippi farmer and a successful banker. In 1878, Bruce presided over the Senate, the first black to do so. In 1881, Bruce was appointed by President Garfield to be the Register of Treasury, becoming the first African American to have his signature featured on U.S. paper currency. His signature, the first African American signature, was on U.S. currency, and that was B.K. Bruce, right? He was born from a union between a slave and a white man. They lighted him up a little bit when they put him on the money, but hell, they doing that to the blacks of in Egypt. They lighting them up, but that's part of the game. But they can do that if they in the power. I mean, it's not right to do it, but if they in the power to do it, nobody challenge them. Shit, they gonna do it till you say, "Hey, what are you doing?" However many Moors, i.e. black folk, African Americans, people of color, Aswads, right, original man and woman of the planet Earth, however many of us that's in the Americas just picked up an aspect of positive study on achievements by black people from the past, the present, and those who have vision for the future. Put the information out in public and have discussions on it. Talk or sit around, kicking around. Talk about it, right? Because what that'll do is it'll start sparking interest, and it'll create a wave of positive energy, right? Once you create that wave of positive energy, right, then it'll trickle down to the next generation, and next generation, and next generation, and now you building up something. If you just sitting around going through your everyday life and you saying, I got my own problem, I ain't got time to so-and-so, and everybody said it until one of their family members get beat up by the police or shot. Then they look around and want everybody to come marching. I can't believe they did that to my daddy, to my brother, to my cousin, to my nephew. I was going, but out of all that's going on, you had your head up in the clouds and wasn't even paying attention. You like, I'm about my business and I'm on my mission and what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm dealing with what's important to me, right? Till you get pulled over and you start shaking, then you start praying, oh God, let me make it out of this stuff. Don't let this officer kill me. The same game, you know what I mean? That's been going on and on and on, but it takes everybody to participate and get involved, and make this thing what it can be. You know, it is really something we can do for each other, man, to help each other. You know, I don't know, man. This time we living in with this COVID and with the racism, and it's not anyone's task to put forth the sacrifice to not make the change, but to force the change, other than ourselves, because we have to prove, right, that our mental capacity, our mind, and our functioning brains, right, can come up with the solution that ails the community. It's nobody else's job. They're saying, it's like football, I keep saying it over and over again. I'm going to run this play, I'm going to hand it off to this back or the fullback, and we're going to run it right up the gut till you stop it. That's their play. They not hiding. Look at Trump. Man, ain't nobody hiding racism and what they feel and how they feel. They running it right up the gut till you come up with a better game plan, a better scheme, right? That can not only stop it, but end it and rise above it. Right? You, me, us, we. That's why I keep saying, man, look, you gotta listen to the minister, man. Get that knowledge, man. Or you gotta research Deuce Ali, Sheikh Anta Diop, Garvey, Noble Drew Ali, research and then build from there. Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You got to study a type of knowledge and information that'll spark your thinking. It's up to us. But thank you all for listening. Verbal Pig Radio. We out.